Hello and welcome. I'm Greha Atul Siddiqui. Now today, the big focus is on India's Silicon Valley. The record rainfall in August that has now spilled on to September has brought Bengaluru to its knees and exposed the existing chinks of the IT capital. Karnataka's Bengaluru is battling severe waterlogging with heavy rain lashing the city, leading to flood-like situation in several areas. Chief Minister Bommai has said that the government would talk to IT companies and discuss compensation for the losses due to rain-related damages. Urban and public infrastructure experts in Bengaluru, however, have identified politics, corruption and disastrous engineering as the main reasons for the flooding in Bengaluru after the torrential showers on Sunday caused severe traffic jams on Monday morning and left India's technology hub and its 12 million residents at the mercy of this civic apathy. And this, remember, is a never-ending cycle for Bengalurians. In every monsoon, this is the same story. Each year, hundreds and thousands of crores is spent on fixing roads, stormwater drains and other essential infrastructure, which remains a work in progress for years, if not decades. Hundreds of complaints of water entering homes are received at BBMP's control room every year. But then again, the IT city is reined in. The mayhem is now a routine. But who's responsible? That's the question to ask, and we would be doing just that. But first, let's see what are we actually looking at over here.
We are coming to you from Sarjapur Road outside the Wipro office. You can see the entire campus approach road has been inundated completely, and this is the scene across Sarjapura Road. Well, not just Sarjapura Road, several IT companies located in Marathalli and Bomanahalli and especially Madhepura zone have been affected because of heavy rains.
ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆಗಳನ್ನು ಚರ್ಚೆ ಮಾಡಿ ತೀರ್ಮಾನಗಳನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿ ಪರಿಹಾರ ಕೊಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಅವರು ಕಾನ್ಫಿಡೆನ್ಸ್ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾರೆ.
Let's now elaborate on this very visual story that we are getting from Bengaluru that remains inundated, of course, waterlogged, and that is a recurring when it comes to every monsoon. Now, if you look at over here, this is the Bengaluru Lake. This is overflowed. You can see the fence over here. This seems to have actually led the way, and because of it, water is gushing out and it has now come onto the roads. Remember, that's the lake, that's the fence, and this is the water which has now come onto the road. So this is the story that is out of the Bengaluru Lake, very, very close to the IT hub in Bengaluru. Now let's take a look at the other aspect. This is the eco space, another IT hub that we are talking about, and here people are commuting in the morning, this morning, Monday morning, remember, and this is the situation. Knee-deep water, almost having to swim to the water. How are they even going to go to work? We're talking about the Silicon Valley of the country, ladies and gentlemen, and this is the situation at eco space. Let's take a look at the next slide. Now this one is from Koramangala. Now Koramangala is actually in knee-deep water, and this is what the situation is. You can see water entering the houses of people. Remember, there was also a petition not so some time back where 1,700 people had also signed on to the fact that they need an arterial road that can actually help decongest traffic in Koramangala. That has not been done. However, this is what the situation is on the only road which you can see over here, which is clearly inundated. Let's take a look at the next slide. Now this one is from the Vidhana Sauda. This is a seat of power. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, in Karnataka, in Bengaluru, Vidhana Sauda's canteen on the lower ground floor is inundated. This is happening in the seat of power. You can see how it's absolutely full of water. Water's gushed into the canteen of Vidhana Sauda. So that's one story. Let's take a look at the next one. This one is from Sarajpur IT hub, where an ambulance has gotten stuck in the water because the street is waterlogged. The ambulance is not able to make its way. Again, similar scenes played out not so some time back, just a week ago. In fact, there was a senior citizen who ended up losing his life because the area around his house was inundated and he could not reach in time to the hospital, and he ended up dying because of a heart attack. And now this one is from Saradpur IT hub, remember, where an ambulance is stuck because of water there on the streets. Now, this one is from Bengaluru apartment, which is the apartment complex which has been cut off completely from the rest of Bengaluru. How are people going to actually approach the other areas? We do not know. This is the kind of civic apathy that we're talking about. This is not a lake, guys. This is actually a road. And the apartment complex, the Bengaluru apartment complex, has been completely cut off from the rest of Bengaluru because of severe waterlogging that they are experiencing over here. Now, let's now take a look at the numbers of this mayhem. What is the kind of loss that, the state of Karnataka has suffered because of the torrential rains? Now, we are talking about 225 crore losses, and this has happened to IT companies only on the 30th of August. Only on the 30th of August, that is the number that is gaping wide in our faces. And if we look at since June, this is what the government of Karnataka has given us. This is the figure of 7,467 crores. This is the rain-related losses that the government in Karnataka has. In fact, these are numbers that have been put out by the government. We only wish to wonder what is the actual figure like and what is the kind of losses that the state has suffered because of the rains in the state. Now, what is the actual reason? That's another story. However, one big reason remains the municipal cooperation, which is still in a limbo. Remember, no BBMP mayor elections for the last 2 years. Now, for 2 years, since 2020, because of COVID-19, there were no elections as far as the BBMP is concerned. So the city does not have a mayor, no cooperator. The city is being governed right now, and the infrastructural problems are being looked at by politicians. That is one big problem that continues when it comes to Bengaluru. Now, the municipal corporation elections were massively delayed, and now in August it was supposed to happen. However, the matter still is sub judice. It remains in court. There are a lot of problems when it comes to the wards and the delimitation. Now that matter is before the Supreme Court of the country, because now the claim is that delimitation has severe scientific issues, and because of which the Karnataka High Court has asked the petitioners to actually seek clarity from the Supreme Court. So that remains in a limbo. That is something that is a big problem that is gaping wide in the faces when it comes to Bengalurians. Now, we are opening it to our people, to the audience who are now watching us, and we are asking who is to blame for this mess. We are flashing these numbers, this number on your screens. You can call us and tell us what you feel about the situation currently in Bengaluru. Let me also open it to my guests who are now joining us on the broadcast. Mohan Vishwa of the BJP joins me. Also joining me is Sandeep Anirudhan, who is the convener of Citizens Agenda for Bengaluru. And also with us on the broadcast is Naresh V. Narasimhan, who is the architect and urban designer. Naresh, I'll take it to you first. Who's responsible for this problem? What is the main reason because of which Bengalurians suffer every year? Is it the corruption? Is it politicians? What is it? Naresh, I believe you are on mute. Can you please unmute yourself?
Okay, I think, sorry.
Yes.
I think it's all of us. Right? I think that it's, at this point, a blame game is not what is called for.
Okay.
I think, but more an understanding of what has happened and what is happening. Actually, it's raining extremely hard right now as we speak. What has happened is that just like other cities in the world, including Chennai once, Bombay a couple of times, and even perhaps New York or Washington, it's not limited. Climate change is a reality.
Okay.
And these extreme weather events are not like a doomsday thing. It's more like a wake-up call. It's not the end of the world. The city is still working. The power is on. The internet is on. I'm talking to you. And sensationalizing this issue as the end of Bangalore itself is perhaps uncalled for. What has happened is that over the years, the stormwater disposal system of Bangalore has become more and more filled up with silt and filled up with sewage, with illegal sewage. So when it rains like this, on a normal day, there's about there's already 1 meter of it is lost due to silt because it's not removed correctly. Another 2 meters of the drain is lost due to sewage, and there's only a half a meter or 1 meter left for stormwater. When it rains 100 millimeters, 150 millimeters like yesterday, and perhaps today also, there is no space for the rainwater to flow in the stormwater drain. So it mixes with the sewage and overflows. Right? So it's an engineering problem. It's not the end of the world. There are examples in Bangalore where this problem is not happening. And this is because the city has understood that that's what needs to be done and is doing it. But it's going to take a lot of time because a lot of years of apathy.
Mr. Narasimhan, the whole idea essentially is that the civic apathy is the main reason. It's the water logging is only an impact of because of that. Exactly.
It is not apathy. Yeah. It is the city has grown too fast for its own good.
For them to catch up? Is that what you're saying?
It has grown beyond what anybody, it's almost doubled in population in the last 10, 15 years. I don't think any city in the world would have, I mean, maybe other cities would have, but not at the rate and the accelerated pace that is going on. It's extremely, I am not saying that we could have done better. Of course, we could have done better.
All right.
And it's possible still to fix the problem. It's not a insoluble
Allow
problem.
me to bring in a caller since we have opened our phone lines. Mr. Venkatesh is now, Venkat Raman, I beg your pardon, is joining us from Bengaluru. Mr. Venkat Raman, what do you have to say about the situation? I'm being told that it's still raining in Bengaluru. The kind of problems that you're facing, of course, is for you guys to see. Every year is the same situation in Bengaluru. Who do you think is to blame?
I think the people in general are to blame because we put up with everything. The basic problem, as Mr. Naresh Narasimhan has just said, is not something which cannot be tackled. The old core areas of Bangalore are not affected by these rains because they were planned much better. The new areas, you talk of the IT hub, Bangalore is not just the IT hub. You're mistaking Bangalore to be only related to IT. And it is being blown out of proportion in my view. Bangalore is having problems, as Mr. Narasimhan said, and there are solutions which can be found which are not very difficult. The problem again is that unless you have an infrastructure committee which oversees the entire infrastructure of Bangalore, we are 20 years behind the growth of the city. Unless we think 20 years ahead, we are not going to get rid of this anytime soon. We are going to see this again and again happening. And it's all over the world. Climate change is now, the rainfall which you're getting in a few hours, you are getting in a few days. So it's not something which is in our hands. But what can we do about it? There is where the political will and the cooperation of the people is really required to come in and give a solution for this. And there are excellent town planners we have in Bangalore who can really, if they put their mind to it, can solve these issues. It's not rocket science.
But Mr. Venkat Raman, where are those contractors? Where are those civil planners? Are they even being allowed to be put in use over here? Because we have not even had a BBMP election for the last 2 years. I mean, pandemic was one reason. However, the elections are still in a limbo. That's not happened.
You are only trying to apportion blame to the bureaucrats and to the politicians. It's not just them. Even we as citizens, when you park your car on a drain, and you block a drain, you are also partly responsible for it. There is a huge mess in terms of parking in Bangalore. Everybody is parking their cars on the streets, right? And I've seen people parking on the footpath, and the slabs break. You get the dust going into the drains; they get blocked, and then this is what happens.
Absolutely.
Everybody
So
is to
civic
blame.
responsibility is also something that we need to look at.
Exactly.
Mr. Venkat Raman, thank you so much for actually, joining this conversation. Very important points that you've made over there. Let me also take this across to one more caller who's joining us from Bengaluru itself. Dr. Kumaran is live with us. Dr. Kumaran, your views.
Yeah, first of all, good evening and
Good evening.
thanks for this opportunity. First, my point is the entire governance has collapsed. Bangalore is not an old city. Bangalore has been a city which with IT and the entire actually world looks upon Bangalore. Bangalore has come to this level because there is absolutely no governance. Somebody has to really take the ownership. There was no BBMP election for the last 3 years. So who has to be questioned for that? There is absolutely no action plan when we had such heavy rains. It is not only about the IT-related parks are getting flooded. The entire city is being flooded. When one of the what a panelist said, there are few areas we can be repaired and all that. Sorry, sir, I'm extremely sorry. The entire city is flooding. Who are the contractors? Why are the ED not riding them? Why are the CBI not riding them? I need to ask a question both with all the political parties. What are you guys doing?
Right. Mohan Vishwa, would you
Okay,
like
what
to
are you
respond
done
to
to
that? Dr. Kumaran, thank you so much for those points that you're making. Let me take this across to a member of the BJP, in Karnataka, who's joining us, Mr. Mohan Vishwa. Care to respond to what Dr. Kumaran has just said?
See, madam, instead of making politics out of it, let's solve the problem. Okay, like one of the senior gentlemen said, we have witnessed more than 330 millimeters of rain in the month of only August, only in Bangalore. Okay, let me tell you, for the entire year, Karnataka used to get some 900 plus millimeters of water. So that's the kind of situation we are facing from past 4 to 5 months. Or it's not only in Bangalore, you take entire Karnataka. Today, come on, Polar, we have some dams and some lakes which was never filled for decades together. And we have Vanivila Sagar Dam, which was not filled for 88 years. So that dam has been filled. So rather than looking, I do agree, yes, there are some issues, there are some delays in construction that might be due to, the bad weather or BBMP election that is in the court from past 2 years. There are, on par with the government, we have to look into the legal issues also, the legal matters also. The BBMP election is purely a legal matter. Since the city is growing, obviously the number of what should be increased from 198 to 243. So that's why the issue is in the court. Suppose that there is a reservation issue
Mr.
also
Vishwa,
on OBC, which
since
is
you are
spread
blaming it
across
only
India.
on climate
It's
change,
not only
let me
for
actually
Bangalore.
give you a data. All right, 100 millimeter of rains flooded the city. In fact, they were double, even triple amount if it had been the case in Chennai, for example. This would not have happened. The fact that life has been thrown out of gear with just 100 mm of rainfall in Bengaluru also speaks volumes. So climate change cannot be the only reason for this, what is happening in Bengaluru.
I never said climate change is the only reason. I said that, yes, there was some delays. Okay. I will tell you one more practical problem. I was just having a chat with one of the BBMP engineers. The issue with continuation of this, the tar or the white topping is from past 8 to 9 months, the average temperature of Bangalore have not crossed 23. Okay, this is causing delay in starting some projects or continuity of some projects. So rain also keeps on coming, our engineers are also working. It's not that we're not doing anything. If at all, if there is no governance, why CM himself is doing a city rounds in Bangalore. And today he went to Malavalli, which is around 100 kilometers from Bangalore, from where the water supply to Bangalore is going to take place. Even that place is flooded. Okay. So there are some infrastructural delays. I do agree. But the major cause here is what we are facing is the rainfall which Bangalore have never witnessed in the past, or rather Karnataka, I can say, that is creating issues. Yes, obviously being in the ruling party, we are working on it, and each MLAs are there on their constituencies and their wards, and the in-charge district minister, they are also there in the district. It's not that we're not doing anything. We're definitely doing everything for the city of Bangalore, and we will keep our promise.
Okay. All right, Sandeep, would you care to respond to this? The fact that the Chief Minister of the state, Mr. Basavaraj Bommai, claimed that he is going to be meeting with members of the IT, hub and people from the IT background to actually see what can be done about the waterlogging situation and also compensate them. Do you think things like this is enough? Coming in from the Chief Minister of a state where the main city, Bengaluru, is inundated, and this is like a recurring story that plays out every year?
Yeah, see, the expectation that the state government should do something in the city itself is a misplaced expectation. See, it's almost 30 years since the 74th Amendment has been passed. The 74th Amendment establishes city government. A city government has to take charge of the city, it has to lead it, it has to have a vision. This is completely missing. This is why we are having all of these problems. Obviously, it's not the present government alone which is the cause for this problem. It's several decades in the making.
Yes.
But I'll explain to you why. With a simple example, why the state government will not really care for the city. See, in July 13th, 2022, this is just about 1.5, 2 months back, News18 Kannada, there was an interview in which I was a panel member. The Met Department had issued a weather warning that in September you're going to have above normal rains. This good 1.5, 2 months before, you got advance warning that in September there is going to be extremely heavy rains. On that interview, I had said, if the government doesn't clear Rajakaluways, if it doesn't remove encroachments, and if it doesn't restore lakes, Bangalore will be inundated. It will be flooded. You can find it on your News18 Kannada YouTube. You'll find that interview.
Absolutely.
For 1.5, 2 months, why hasn't the government responded? It is a disaster warning.
Mr. Mohan Vishwa, that's a very important point that is being made over here. The fact that it's a disaster warning. I'll quote the gentleman over here. The reason is also that it's not just politics. It's also the corruption that's become very, very rampant, and every now and then it has been brought to fore by not just our channel, but it's pretty much evident. What would you say about the kickbacks, the corruption that has been, doing the rounds, and because of which Bengaluru is just, gone down to the situation that we see now?
That is the cycle. Because, oh, sorry, you're asking someone else.
Yeah. Let Mr. Mohan Vishwa respond to it.
Sure.
It's totally baseless. Whoever is making corruption allegations, at least let them have some sort of basic evidence, okay? Forget about the evidence which they want to give to a police officer or for a judicial inquiry. Let them have some sort of basic evidence. If I come tomorrow and allege something against your TV or someone else,
Mr.
I should
Mohan
have some
Vishwa,
sort of basic
I'll
evidence.
give you
right?
one. In November last year, the Karnataka State Contractors Association, they had written to the Prime Minister, and I have the data over here, alleging that the Basavaraj Bommai-led BJP government was demanding as much as 40% in kickbacks. That's a letter that's been written to your Prime Minister.
I can create such kind of letter within 5 minutes.
It's a letter written to the Prime Minister of the country, sir.
5 minutes for your kind information. Now, let me finish. You take anything for that matter. Even Bitcoin also, they said what? They made huge hue and cry. The numbers were going to the crores. Okay, they never had a basic information. Here also, the Contractor Association president, he should come out with some sort of evidence, right? So this is the second time he's doing. Okay, so just for the sake of his political publicity or opposition's using him as a weapon to throw some sort of stone against the ruling party. So there should be some sort of evidence, right? Coming out and alleging against somebody 40% commission.
Right. Let's take this to people. Let's take this to people, sir. We have more callers who are joining us on the broadcast. Mahesh Babu joins us from Bengaluru. Yes, Mahesh, please go ahead.
Hi. See, I'm listening to all the discussion. This is not just the incessant rains or unexpected rains this year. This is happening for the last many years. All this is because of the downtrodden and people who are not listening to the necessity of the cities. They are only bothered about extending the tender, making money. Everybody is only doing a shabby job. That is the main problem in Bangalore. It is not just the rains. Yes, I understand this year rains are higher. But only the rain has not caused the damage. The infrastructure, preparation, whatever the designs we had, that is the major problem which we are not able to set right. I request every panel guys to talk back to the government, set right with the designs and make better roads. That is what we need at the moment, madam.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So civic apathy is the problem. Flooding only is a symptom to that very problem. Murli is also joining us from Bengaluru. Yes, Murli.
Hello. Thanks, first of all, to give me an opportunity to talk here. I do understand that we have panels from different zones or space talking, and, they're really safeguarding or putting a barricade, only talking about themselves. Somebody's coming and talking about agenda politics, and, they're putting a barricade. if that person can answer me basic questions, what are the basic boards are doing? Nothing is doing. Yes, there was somebody talking about, their MLAs are working. Yes, they are working towards their pockets. I don't see anything has been done towards this area. I am a native of Bangalore. Okay, I am a Bangalorean. I've seen nothing, any development in the past 30 years at least.
Okay.
It is going to dogs, and now when I'm talking to you, it's actually pouring like cats and dogs here. And it is more than a feet or two, and I see no one. And today also your cops who are talking about saving the politics side. Just for him, FYI, your police are there on road just for collection of money. They're not even helping the people who are walking through. And somebody was talking about the parking. One of the callers spoke about, he told that, we are equally responsible about, the parking. We being a citizen, we need to ensure that, we park in a place. I'm asking that person as well, if the local bodies work appropriately, do you really think somebody's going to park in the main road? No. We do not have the governance, basic governance where, people have to work. Your MLAs are not working. Your corporators are not working. I do understand CM is actually walking through many places. I think somebody, this Manoj, I think, right? He was talking about BJP. See, I'm not here to demotivate or motivate any political party. I'm just putting my point of view. CM is walking through streets and walking in water for what? For tomorrow's election. Is he walking for tomorrow's election? He just want to show cause that, there was a flooded and I came there. There's nothing happening. To the ground reality, everybody wants to come in power, at least in Bangalore, just for money. Okay. And your highest tax paid is in one of the states in India. Highest tax paid is Bangalore. I can be wrong with the number, but that is a fact. That's one. Secondly, even our government was talking about, we all know this double engine, right?
Right.
PM itself told double engine. Where is the double engine? Forget the single engine. Where is the double engine? That itself is not working. Right. So even if I want to say the central is working, but the state is not doing that.
Right, Murli, thank you so much for those very, very strong views that you're sharing for us on the broadcast. I have Mr. Mohan Vishwa of the BJP who is also here, but I'd like to take this across to Mr. Naresh Narasimhan. Mr. Narasimhan, the fact that you said that the city has grown at a really fast pace and things were, they could not have been done in that much of time. However, the people who are residents of Bengaluru have a different story to tell. Obviously, there is corruption in various facets, but there is something which is severely lacking when it comes to infrastructure in Bengaluru.
I understand. Let me just step back from that. See, I understand the pain and the agony that my fellow citizens are going through, particularly the ones in the affected areas. But let me just step back a little bit and just give you a bigger picture. See, Bangalore's planning, the master plan of Bangalore has not been revised since 2015. It expired in 2015, and for 7 years, it's been going back and forth as to what is the vision for a future Bangalore. They're not able to come to a consensus. It's probably everyone's fault, right? The politicians, the people, and things are just not, for some reason, falling into place. And the second issue is that all the planning till now has been based on a logic of land use and probably the vision of real estate, because the city is growing at an enormous pace. We have to recalibrate that and look at this city from a view of climate change and resilience to climate change. Unless that mind shift happens, that the political will has to happen to think of the city from a resilience viewpoint and not from a real estate viewpoint.
All right.
The moment it happens,
what should be the solution? That's a very important point that Mr. Narasimhan has made. A solution to this problem, a recurring one.
Solution is there has to be a people-led movement to make this happen. And Sandeep is here with me on the show. Sandeep has been leading many initiatives in the city, but we need a city-wide consensus to demand that the government make the master planning and the climate resilience plan public and participative as per the 74th Amendment.
All right. Let me actually end this by, taking this to a caller now who's also joining me. Venkat is joining me from Bengaluru. Venkat, do you agree that this has to be a people-led movement so that this situation is actually, we can actually take care of what we are seeing in Bengaluru at the moment?
Exactly.
Yes, Venkat, please go ahead.
So basically, it is like this. So as some other person was pointing it out, so Bangalore is an planned city, to my knowledge. An planned city. And everywhere there is cement road coming up. There is no proper infrastructure for the drainage. It's a man-made disaster. If we see this for the next 5 years, Bengaluru will be disaster. Right. Not only Bengaluru, the entire
Absolutely.
Indian city.
Venkat, thank you so much actually for sharing your views, and I'd like to thank all my guests who have joined me on the broadcast. A solution is needed, and a people-led movement is what we're talking about over here. Let's see if that works wonders for Bengaluru. I'd leave it at that. Shifting focus, and my colleague Shivani Gupta joins you on the other side with Plain Speak.